I am a man of honor, integrity, and promise. I pursue all righteousness. I love my family. I will not put my family in harm's way. There is nothing that will keep me from doing the right thing. I am an ambassador of hope and a man of discipline. I am a man worth following. I am a TYRO.
Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And we've been spending the last few weeks talking to you about breaking the cycle of incarceration. We have stepped through the 5 phases of incarceration and the decision point that moves after acceptance. And we've also begun to talk about what we need to do once we decide to change.
Gentlemen, this is not easy. This is not for the faint-hearted. If you really want to make a difference and a change in your life and impact and affect the people around you and to become better, not bitter, you have to be conscious of what you're about ready to go through. Because if you're not conscious of this next phase, you're going to repeat that cycle again.
All right. And so what we did is we took our own personal experience as we navigated through those 15 years of Ron being in prison. And we put it on paper. 15.
Man.
15 long years.
Yeah.
And we put it on paper. And first of all, we created the TYRO program. And now we're really looking at what are the cycles of the phases of incarceration so we can help you break that cycle. And so today we're going to talk about the last 2 phases of the cycle of incarceration, and that is reinvent and reinvest.
Reinvent and reinvest. Those are 2 key principles to really wrap this up and really bring holistic healing into your life. So when we come back, we're going to really get more in depth into these 2 key principles. So you don't want to miss anything. So stay tuned.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you are not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Cathy TYRO's own personal experience with incarceration. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You will be prepared to overcome the obstacles of your incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You'll be one of the honored, a man worth following.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And today we're talking about reinventing and reinvesting in order to break the cycle of incarceration.
So the first thing we want to tackle is, what does it mean to reinvent yourself from within the walls? I tell you, that's a challenge because everybody around you is in a state of denial, in a state of shock and awe. They're going through all these phases all around you at the same time. And all you have to do is stay focused on you, and you got to become better. It's not that you're trying to negate everybody else around you, but you got to understand that there are so many obstacles in your way of success while you're housed in that facility or wherever you're at. You know, because somebody at all times is telling you what to do and what not to do. And you got to come to a place of where you can't take it personal. This is your first place of reinventing yourself. D-tip. Don't take it personal. You're there, you've accepted it, now you're getting better, you're becoming better, not bitter. And one of the first things is, don't take it personal. When they come and tell you, lock it down. When they come and tell you, shake down. Don't take it personal. You have to practice these principles in order to be better. So when you're at home or on the phone and things are not going the way you want it to go on a visit, you've already practiced this. Don't take it personal. You're reinventing your thinking. In other words, you're dying to yourself and you're living for others.
And as you begin to reinvent yourself, the other place you have to not take it personal is when people don't believe that you're really changing. Because it's about you changing. I know Ron, as Ron began to change, my first thought was, is this for real? Is he for real? But he was. The proof was in the pudding, and Ron proved me wrong when I thought he wasn't for real. There's a difference between an imposter and a reinventor.
The real McCoy, and we could, you can con the snowman, or no, you can't con the snowman, but we've been conning people all our lives prior to coming to prison. We were manipulators before we came to prison. What happens in prison, you just sharpen your skills. So you got to come to a place, say, you know what, I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm going to have an extreme makeover, and I'm going to change the way I behave, the way I look at life. And then as I began to reinvent myself by doing things different, getting up before everybody else, working out, not hanging around lames, hanging around other people who are like-minded, people who wanted to really read and get an understanding about certain things in life, wanted to better themselves, really on how to have a successful relationship. And then as I began to reinvent myself, I was able to reinvest in others. And that was really a mind-blowing thing for me. Now I'm being able to give back to those around me, my wife, my kids, and even the peers inside the day room or in the penitentiary, able to help people become better than me.
And how you know the difference between an imposter or somebody that's just pretending to be something that they're not is that they won't be consistent. You will eventually be found out for who you really are, and you certainly will not be reinvesting in your community or in your surroundings or in people around you. Because if you're an imposter, all of your energy is centered on trying to make people believe you're something you're not. When you're the real deal and you're the real McCoy, then you've got energy to spend on helping other people become better as well.
You don't have to put on a mask when you're authentic. All you got to do is be you and be real. Now, if you're still trying to manipulate or get over on somebody, you will be exposed for who you really are. Because if you're not who you really are, you will be exposed for who you really are. And even in prison, that principle is true. Well, it's true out here. You might be able to convince a bank that they can give you a loan, but guess what? If you're not an honest person, eventually that too will be manifested where you don't pay the loan back, and now no one's going to take you at your word. But out here, and even in there, as I'm building my relationship with Cathy, I'm reinventing myself at the same time I'm reinvesting. These two principles, they can walk hand in hand. I'm reinventing, reinvesting, reinventing, reinvesting. I'm practicing because this type of work doesn't happen overnight. Practice does not make perfect, it makes permanent. And I wanted something permanent and sustainable between Cathy and I. I wanted our relationship to be permanent. Not something that was fleeting or going to be a fly-by-night type of concept, but something that was worth preserving and worth taking care of.
When people say, well, you can't become something you're not, I challenge them with something as simple as education. If you can't become something you're not, then why do we send people to college to become doctors? If they were doctors before they ever went in, right? Then we shouldn't have to take them to school to become a doctor. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all. And the same thing, just because you find yourself in prison does not make you a criminal. What will make you a criminal is if you continue to do what you've always done. That's what makes people criminal. And so if you want to be something different, and you want to be an upstanding citizen, and you want to be that father, that role model, then here's your opportunity to reinvent yourself, learn what it is you need to do to be who you want to be, practice those principles every single day, and then begin to make other people in your surroundings better than you.
You're going to come up with challenges just with the group around you, the peers. For those of you watching this TV show, you're going to be throwing spitballs or whatever, and it's okay. We're living proof that this works. And this might not be for you, but it's for somebody out there who's watching, who's listening, and you're going to have to step out and put yourself out there, become a marked target, because once you say, I'm going to do something different, watch them all come out, the woodwork. We call them haters. But let me tell you what a hater stands for. Having anger towards everyone reaching success. But you got to come to a place where you let your haters be your motivators, because they're going to push you to success, because they're telling you can't do it. You can't be a good father. You can't be a good husband. Your wife ain't faithful. When they start hitting you with all these type of negative reinforcements and they're hitting you, you got to be that one, that TYRO who stands up and say, you know what? You could sticks and stones, you could throw them at me, but I know who I am, and I am a man worth following. I am a TYRO. My family is becoming healthy because I'm becoming healthy.
That's right. So stay tuned, because in our next segment, we're going to talk about how those principles are manifest on the outside. You're not going to want to miss this.
playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through family days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Cathy TYRO.
And I'm Ron TYRO. And we've been talking about the two key factors to bringing holistic healing into your own personal and your family's lives. And we're talking about today about reinventing and reinvesting. And I talked about what it was like for me inside the penitentiary. But we got to remember, guys, our family's going through something too. At the same time you're experiencing transformation, they too are experiencing transformation.
Well, hopefully they also are experiencing transformation so that they're not getting stuck in this cycle of incarceration. Because even though on the outside we're not in a prison that has bars and windows, we're still in our own prison. So if we don't navigate through the same phases and cycles, we will never break the cycle of incarceration for where we're living out here.
And in your case, when I went to prison, though I was physically incarcerated, you were incarcerated by poverty, welfare dependency.
Right.
And then,
shame, embarrassment, all of those things were my own prisons. So as we work through, remember the whole cycle and each one of the phases that we've worked through. But we're going to talk about the cycles right now that help us become better. And that was first recognize and then rebuild, renew, reinvent, and reinvest. And so on the outside, as we're reinventing, as I'm having to reinvent myself, I remember getting so much pushback from my friends because I was thinking, okay, now I've renewed how I'm thinking, so I'm seeing things differently, right? I'm seeing my relationships differently. I'm seeing what it means to be honorable to people and to not backbite and not get caught up in garbage that's just drama.
No soap opera living.
No more soap opera living. So I'm moving myself back. And so I began to get a lot of disdain from my friends. Oh, who do you think you are? You think you're better than us? Is that who you think you are? And I was like, you know what? It's not that I'm better than you. It's that I want to do things different. I want to be a better friend to you. And most of them couldn't hear that because what happens is when you begin to change and reinvent yourself, you challenge people and you challenge their status quo. And most people, you know, we don't want to examine where we are when we're in the midst of it. And so it makes them feel angry and frustrated, and so usually they direct it at you.
Or even sometimes jealous.
Or jealous, that's right. That's right. Who do you think you are to overcome? And then they're like, oh no, now I either have to change or I have to separate this relationship.
What I hear you talking about is courage. You know, the courage it takes to make that conscious decision, I'm not gonna be on welfare anymore. I'm gonna do what it takes to get off.
Right. So what I had to overcome and reinvent is I had to decide I wasn't going to be a welfare mom anymore. I wasn't going to be somebody that people couldn't take at their word, that they couldn't trust and believe in. I was going to be a woman of my word, a woman of integrity, of faithfulness and honor. I was going to be a hard worker. And so as I began to frame and renew my mind, now reinventing part comes when you're actually putting action behind it, okay? So now I'm putting action behind it. I'm going back to school. I'm getting an odd job, any job I can get to work hard to bring money into my home. Then as I began to become this other person, then it was a natural outflow to begin to reinvest in the people around me, take what I knew and train up people around me to become better than me, but also reinvest in me. It's like, okay, once I overcame this, then it was like, wow, let me reinvest now, let me learn that. And then the next thing, and the next thing. And so this cycle just continues, and it continues to bring more and more healing, more and more strength, and more character to you.
And what Cathy's talking about is bettering our best. You know, once you get a taste of this, that, you know, all things are possible, and we can see and really talk about how do you make your dreams come true. You know, how do you take something and all the people around you that were at one time, you know, your haters, or who do you think you are, or you forgot what side of tracks you come from the railroad tracks you come from, you know, and we come to a place of where, you know what, I'm going to block all the negative sayings that are coming at me, and I'm going to press on despite what people think or where they believe I'm supposed to be at.
Yeah.
You know, we get hit still today, you know, still people can't fathom or believe that we are where we're at today.
And that we're authentic. And then when they watch our lives, they're waiting. I mean, the thing is, you have people that are going to be watching you. And we welcome that accountability. As you go through that, instead of shunning that accountability and running back to the shadows, you welcome the accountability when you are who you say you are.
And that's part about reinventing yourself, where you become transparent now. No more, you know, your greatest disease is your greatest secret. You know, you walk openness. You walk like a glass house. You know what? I can stand a shakedown. Can you?
That's right. Not being perfect, because there's no such thing. We are not perfect people. But I will tell you, we are healthy. And I will tell you that we think healthy, and that our family is thriving and strong, and that our relationships are now permanent.
It is good to be in this life. Cathy and I, we celebrate life every day. You know, but it wasn't easy to get where we're at today. And we encourage you, when we come back, we're going to talk about what it means for your children when you begin to really reinvest in others around you, and what they get to see when they get to see that you overcame all these type of struggles. Watch what they do. You know, and we got some great stories that we could share later or next time about what we see our children becoming, because we not only reinvented, but we are reinvesting. And you know, there's a saying, I only do what I see my father do. And that's really key. What are your children seeing you do, Dad? Are you reinventing? Are you reinvesting in those around you? Or are you a mush fake? So hold on, because we're going to come right back, and we got something for you.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout,
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Cathy TYRO.
And I'm Ron TYRO. We've been talking about reinventing and reinvesting in this segment, and these are two key principles in order for any man or any woman to really experience healing in the holistic approach.
In order to break the cycles of incarceration. You know, we talked over the last few weeks, and it's really important. You'll hear us say it over and over again, because it's so important that you understand what this cycle is and each phase in the cycle. So we started out and we were talking about the cycles of incarceration and what you go through, from the shock to the denial to the anger to the grief to finally the acceptance.
And once you get past the acceptance, you got to come to a place of where you decide, either I'm going to become a victim of my own circumstances and repeat the same cycle again, or become a victor and choose the TYRO way, where I'm going to begin to rebuild, renew.
First recognize.
Recognize. Thank you, hon. Recognize, rebuild, renew, reinvent, and now reinvest.
And so on this journey, we often think that we're on journeys by ourselves, but we're taking our family with us. And so your children have been part of this entire journey with you. As a matter of fact, they're also going through their own journey, their own phases of grief and anger and frustration, their own place of really recognizing that, wait a minute, you know, things are different and changing in my family. And then they're watching you rebuild and renew things, and their relationships are being renewed with you. And now they're watching how you have the opportunity to reinvent yourself. And sometimes they're standing at the sidelines to make sure it's really, really true.
You know, there's a lot we can learn from our children as we begin to reinvent and reinvest, you know, because now our eyes are open to the reality of what we created. Well, let me share a story with you of what reinventing looks like. You know, we can look to our children, and they have a lot to offer us as we grow and we evolve, because they too are going through something. But when you arrived, when your children say something like this, I was home and Bria was walking up the stairs and Cathy was walking up behind her, and she turned around and she said, "Mama, I know what Papa's job is." And Cathy said to her, "Well, I think I know what Papa's job is, but what do you say Papa's job is?" And this is what she said that was so profound, and this is when you know you're on the right track. She turned around and said, "It is Papa's job to catch us when we fall." And that's what she was seeing happening in me. She's seen that trait or that characteristic in me.
She knew that she could depend upon her dad. Now, rewind, before Ron went to prison, he was not dependable. I mean, then it was like we didn't know if Papa was going to be there or not when we needed him. But he had reinvented himself, and now here is his child that is saying, this is who this person is. So as you change who you are, your children are part of that journey. So my sons had to watch Ron reinvent who he was. They had to watch him play it out. And they went from a place of hurt and pain and anger and frustration to a place of honor and respect and looking at their dad as their hero. That doesn't come because you tell your children what they should think of you. That comes because they watch how you live your life.
You know, one of the first goals that I had when I came home, I wanted to get me a car, a certain car, but I knew I had to work hard to get it. So what I did was I took that car when I came home, I took a picture of it, and I put it on the fridge. Another story. This is one of my sons, and after 3 years of being home, I was able to go to a dealership. Now that picture of that car out of a magazine was on the refrigerator for 3 years, right? Not 3 months, 3 years.
Right.
So it took me and Cathy and I to navigate, you know, discipline, integrity, where I could be taken at my word by going to a bank, to getting a loan, all these things that had to work in our favor or work because we put the hard work into it, right? And so when I was able to bring that car home and park it in the driveway, we had a celebration, and we took the picture down and we said, the dream was met. The dream is no longer a dream, it's a reality. But to watch one of my sons go and download one of his dreams, he printed off a picture of something he would like to have in his life, and he went and took it and put it on a fridge. And
then he says this, it worked for Dad.
Yep, it worked for Dad. And watching him do that, that's what we're talking about. Dads, not our kids going into the bars and representing and looking like we looked. You know, there's a story, and I know I probably shared this story before about when a father and son go to the club. But listen, your children are following in your footsteps. You know, you're reinventing yourself and reinvesting, and you want your investment, your major ROI that you return is your children never look like you do today.
So as you reinvent yourself, you created this safety, this security, this image of strength and refuge that your children can run into. And so now it's your job to reinvest in their lives, the positive things that they're going to need to overcome things. And so that means as you're reinvesting, sometimes you're taking them with you, especially as you transition home. You're saying, come on, we're going to go clean up the park. Come on, we're going to go and we're going to deliver food. Doing things that reinvest in the lives of others and help other lives become stronger. Actually, the return on investment is that your own family becomes stronger. Your own relationships become more secure.
Dads, if you're not reinvesting in other people's families, like Cathy just mentioned, in other words, if you're not celebrating for the man next to you to make it, then don't get mad when nobody's celebrating you. If you're not rooting for somebody else's children to make it, don't get mad when nobody's rooting for yours. This is what we're talking about, reinvestment. When you see somebody going home and he finally gets a parole, celebrate that moment in his life and encourage him never to come back. Encourage him to be the man of honor that you know he can be. As you're encouraging others to stay out of the hole, to stay ticket-free, stay sucker-free, stay off the gambling table. As you're encouraging others, watch yourself be encouraged that you too, the return investment, you too are no longer on the gambling table. You're not doing things that are keeping you from being successful with your family. You're doing everything in your power to show people, look, I'm taking this experience, I'm embracing this prison experience, and I'm going to become better because of it, not bitter.
And then your children are learning that that event was just an event. And they're learning how to be responsible, how to give back, and they're learning just that learning is a lifelong process. And so you are setting your kids up for success when you navigate through every one of these phases in this breaking the cycle of incarceration.
You know, one of the things that make our sons successful today, even our daughter, is we talk about our experience. We talk about what it took to experience prison visits and how did you overcome, how did you not let that prison visit experience make you bitter, right? Because they're not all great, but we talk about what it means to stay out of prison, what it means to go into prison, all these things. We talk about it so that my son sons and my daughter will never experience that, or anybody else who comes into our sphere of influence, because we recognize that we are the change agents for anyone who comes into our sphere.
So through our TYRO program, we really help people go through each one of these phases in order to become successful. And so after this short break, we're going to tell you a little bit more about the TYRO program and how it's helping break these cycles of incarceration. So stay tuned.
Completion of TYRO Dads is just the beginning of the opportunities available to you. As a TYRO Dad, you will be eligible to participate in workforce strengthening services to help prepare you for employment and open the doors to economic stability for you and your family. The Workforce Strengthening Program starts with job ethics training. Once completed, you may be eligible to receive training to acquire your commercial driver's license while still inside prison. If getting a CDL is not for you, then there is also a welding training program you may be eligible for. As more programs are being added, there really is something for almost everyone.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And today is the final of our series on breaking the cycle of incarceration. We have talked about all of the phases you go through an incarceration experience. From the first thing, which was shock, and then into denial, and then anger and grief and acceptance, and then that decision-making point where you can choose to be a victim and continue to repeat those cycles, or a victor and move on to recognize and then renew and rebuild, and now reinvent and reinvest. And today we've really focused in on reinventing and reinvesting.
And reinventing, there's only one way to do it, guys. You got to be honest with yourself. I want to change. Once you make that declaration, once you say, you know what, I want to reinvent my way of life, right? And we have an opportunity here that's being presented of becoming a TYRO. You know, a TYRO is a novice, an apprentice, someone learning something new, a warrior. And if you're really serious about making a difference, not only in the life that you're living now, in the life of your family, but really the life in your community that you live in. You know, we have what is called a TYRO accountability community. And if you really want to change, if you really want to be taken at your word, you know, you got to become a TYRO, a man worth following, understanding the precepts and the discipline it takes to be a man of his word, understand what it takes to be taken at face value, because you said it, that settles it. That's being a TYRO, a man worth following. And if that's what you want, then that's what we're offering to you, to put the work in that it takes to be a man worth following, a TYRO.
So as you consider how it is you're going to navigate through each one of these phases, we want to encourage you to consider taking the TYRO program, because the TYRO program will walk with you through each one of these phases in order to get to the place of reinventing yourself as a TYRO and reinvesting in the community around you. We are here, and we are so excited to be able to give you the principles and the precepts that you need in order to become successful.
So thank you for tuning in with us, and thank you for allowing us to go on this journey with you. So until next time, we are rooting for you.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of integrity.
I am a man of faith. I am the antidote.
I am a man of discipline. I am a leader.
I am strong.
I am a man worth following.
I am a TYRO.